All right, I am going live again. I'm going to talk about the weather as we have an active ice storm in Pennsylvania, and we also have some snow ongoing in New York with accumulations of over an inch an hour in some areas. So let's go into the live stream now. First, I'm going to show the Storm Prediction Center's outlook for Sunday, where we have a very large marginal risk of severe weather across a pretty large area, actually. Um, so let me just share that. Um, no, we don't want that. We want the Storm Prediction Center here. Um, as you can see, marginal risk of severe weather from much of Arkansas, northwestern Mississippi, western Tennessee, my bad, all the way up into portions of extreme southwestern Pennsylvania and much of Ohio there. If we go down to their outlook, you can see generally not the greatest setup here, but you can see if we go down here, it says isolated damaging wind gusts and perhaps a brief tornado or two. The keywords are isolated and brief and perhaps, because we don't really have the greatest instability. We do have some strong low-level jet there, 45 to 55 knots, maybe even higher, which could help overcome some of that instability issue. And if we had some more instability, like 1,000, 2,000 joules per kilogram, we could have a pretty decent setup for a decent QLCS out here. But we just don't have a ton of CAPE. We're saying 250 to 500 joules per kilogram of mixed layer CAPE, or most unstable CAPE, my bad, which is very low. But we can actually look at what some of the models think will happen. CUD meteorology. Let me just find the correct thing here. Let's see. We want weather data. Weather data. We want numerical models. Does the HRRR go? No, probably not. We can do the wrap. Look at the wrap. You could see here that, let's go to Sunday. You can see a little bit of early morning convection, but not a ton. And you can see as we progress through the day, we end up with a significant line that can produce some isolated to localized damaging wind gusts. I won't be surprised if they upgrade to a slight risk. Let's just look at, can we view the wind gusts here? I don't think we can, but we can actually go to wind shear here. You can see the wind shear, while not the greatest, isn't terrible. I think that's around 40 to 50 knots of wind shear there. So that's not terrible. Going up to the upper levels here, you can see you have some decent wind shear there, closer to 70 to 80 knots of wind shear in the upper levels. And you can see this is going mainly to the west here. If we go to the lower levels, it's going more to the south. So you have a good change of direction with height there, which is what we need for you to get the storms to fire here and strengthen. Let's go to dew points. You can see generally not the best warm sector, but we have mid 50s to low 60s dew points across a large area, which that is enough for our severe threat to develop. And you can see very tight gradient here. We go straight from like we go straight from 60s to low 60s to low 50s in this general area here. I think the general cold front is right here, and then you have your dry line back here. If we're looking at our convective products, we're going to look at mean layer cape because that's generally the best here. You can see not a ton of cape, which is the issue, because you can see in a lot of areas where you have 200, 300 joules per kilogram of cape, which might be a little lower than what might actually happen, but that's generally not enough. Looking at our 0 to 3 kilometer cape, you can see we have some. I'm going to take a sounding from right here, and then I'm going to take another sounding a little further to the south here to see what we generally could be dealing with in different areas. You can see that first one. Let's turn off the winter one. Generate new sounding. Actually, we want mixed or mean layer cape in this one. You can see generally not great for a tornado threat. You can see we do have some change of wind speed with height a lot, but we don't have a ton of change of direction. Our photograph isn't very curved, but it's a little curved, so we could see tornadoes, a couple. But you can see generally our dew point and our temperature are very close together, which isn't necessarily bad. But our lapse rates are trash, basically. 6.2 Celsius per kilometer. It's going to take a lot more for stuff to get going, which those would need to improve to 6.5 to 7 Celsius per kilometer to be good. You can see our cape generate below 300, which is absolute trash for severe weather events. But there's a lot of uncertainty and things can change too. So I will probably be live not tomorrow but Sunday for the severe threat. Now let's look at the weather sounding here. You can see this is even worse. Basically no photograph curvature at all. We don't even have the lapse rates on here. That's how bad the lapse rates are. 5.7 Celsius per kilometer. This is the worst sounding first severe weather event I've seen in a while. Anyways, let's talk about the ice storm. So you can see here, this is a road this is, what would that be? Probably that's I-99 there near Bedford in Pennsylvania here. We do have some ice around the state. We have an ice storm ongoing. We could see accumulations up to 0.3 of an inch potentially in some areas. Right now we're saying 0.2 of an inch, but earlier we were saying up to 0.3 of an inch. And also in parts of New York, there is some snow accumulations expected to continue to get towards 5 to 8 inches additional snowfall. And we even have those winter storm warnings in western Massachusetts, much of Connecticut there as well, northern New Jersey even. So let's go ahead and switch my screens here to the nobody's watching. What? Why is nobody watching? I put effort into this stream and nobody's watching. I'm just so disappointed, YouTube. I'm putting my effort into a stream of explaining everything in detail. And of course nobody's watching. Like, bro. I don't even have a like. up. I'll just go and end the stream. This is the end of the stream. I can't believe nobody's watching. Goodbye.